Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jay Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're thrilled to have Adam Kimmel, the founder of ASK Consulting Solutions. Adam brings a unique blend of expertise as a chemical engineer with nearly 20 years of R&D experience, coupled with a passion for fractional business development in the industrial, automotive, and engineering sectors. Based in Milwaukee, ASK Consulting Solutions, founded to bridge technical expertise with growth strategies, is transforming how companies scale through strategic planning, lead generation, and content marketing. We'll be exploring his founding story, how his business empowers clients, and his vision for scaling this impact-driven venture. With that being said, let's dive right in. Adam, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks so much, Jake. Great to be here. Appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure having you on the show, Adam. So really would love to start at the top for our listeners here. If you could take us back to the beginning, Adam, what specific problem in the industrial or engineering sectors really inspired you to start ASK Consulting Solutions?
I started my career as an engineer, as you mentioned, chemical engineering degree. So I was in a cube calculating for a long time and figured out that I have something like 12 global patents by now.
Wow.
And one of the first things I would do is I would solve this problem with a new innovation. And somebody would say, okay, now explain this to the patent lawyer who has to file on this, or the business leader who has to invest in capital. So being able to explain the complex technical thing we did to audiences that have varied levels of technical knowledge was the trick. And I figured out pretty quickly that if no one understands it, they'll never buy it from you. So that's how I got into content. And what I found was after when I would start to do content, I would ask a lot of business foundational questions. Why, what are your value propositions and differentiators? And a lot of those business fundamentals weren't in place. So I kept moving upstream to start the growth consulting end of things. So that's the path from engineer all the way upstream to business consultant.
I love it. So with that there, obviously you've been in the space for quite some time, have so much intelligence and knowledge, which is why it led you to where you are today. So really walk us through, Adam, how are you generating revenue with ASK as far as the core offer, especially for our listeners who, once they hear this episode, once it comes out, they can come and work with you. So giving them a better understanding of what the core offer is here, what's there for them, and how's it structured for your clients when they come to work with you?
Yeah, so it's really a customized approach. So I have a lot of frameworks in various different growth arms. So the four growth arms that I help with are product, so product development, product marketing, content marketing, so thought leadership, refining that point of view, business development consulting, which is new business from new customers at a more outbound kind of way, or operations efficiency improvement. So if there's things are working, but processes have been bolted together, maybe there was some acquisitions coming in there, cleaning up and growing through profitability. So those four. So the way I structure it is I have frameworks in each one of those four areas. And depending on where the business is or where the clients are in their journeys, I can structure those together in a way that addresses the growth arms they need and leaves out ones they don't.
I love it. Who is your ideal client that, really makes sense for you that you see works best with what you're bringing to the table?
Yeah, so it's a good question and one that probably continually evolves. So
Yeah.
today, what I've found is manufacturing, automotive, and clean tech are the three verticals that I'm best suited to serve. I have direct industry experience in each one. From the engineering side, one of the things I say is I speak fluent engineer because when an engineer comes on the subject call, I go back into engineering mode. And then I can, all right, if no one else on the call understood what we just said, here's the themes that are coming out. But companies in those verticals ranging from about, I would say 25 to 50 million, all the way up to about 500 million. So the small, medium business sizes, I think over that, it gets hard to say yes to fractional or external consultants. And below that, the level of investment and the process discipline isn't usually there. They're still in hustle mode. So I think that sweet spot right in the middle is where I've landed.
So with that, I'm definitely curious, Adam, because obviously, as you mentioned, you have that engineering background. That was really your bread and butter, and the passion that you have really is what brought you to this. So what's working best for you on the acquisition side? As far as, are you running ads? Is it more on the
Mm.
referral side? Are you seeing success from the social media side? Talk to us a bit about what's working best for you through those channels.
Yeah, coming from engineering, I really didn't have a good idea about what marketing channels to try. So the first thing I did was go to LinkedIn. I thought
Yep.
LinkedIn, and I felt this way years ago too. It was an underutilized platform that many people were just using as a glorified resume. And I thought, well, there's conversations to have, and you can build your network on there. And so I started creating content on LinkedIn probably 3 to 4 years ago in earnest. I really started dedicating some content strategy to that. Most of my revenue, and this is different than a lot of founders, most of my revenue comes from LinkedIn. I've gotten a few referrals, and the referral partners have been really good, but it's not like I've built this business based on referrals. So that's, I've heard a lot of people tell their stories the opposite way, where, oh, our business was all referrals, but we
Yep.
tapped our network. Now we need to grow another way. The
Right.
opposite. I'm probably under leveraging my referral network, if I'm being honest, because of how successful LinkedIn was. And so then with that, as a content marketer, SEO has been a big part of it. So thought leadership, blog writing, and just leveraging the website strength. That's something I do for clients, so it's easy enough to do it for myself. And so I think those two arms, thought leadership and LinkedIn posting, are what I use.
Gotcha. So on that side, it sounds like not much around ads just yet because of that
Right.
success you're seeing. Is that something that you're thinking about when it comes to scaling your consultancy? How do you approach that side of things of thinking about scale and taking it to that next level?
Yeah, scale, what I've figured out is that the problem I solve is real, it exists, and it's urgent for my ICPs. So as long as that's the case, then it is a scaling. So scaling is the limitation. And I haven't even hit yeah, that's the point I'm at. I haven't put any paid dollars into it, but that's definitely something that feels like the logical next step. As the organic engine's working for me, as I beef up referrals, paid is another way to help get some a little bit more passive traffic coming in. Yeah, that makes sense, I think, based on where the business is and where it's going to go.
Absolutely. And on that same note there, is this something that you're doing on your own, Adam, running it as a solopreneur? Do you have a sales team, marketing team, assistants? What does that team look like working with you in this?
You're seeing most of the team right now. So
Okay.
it's a solo type
The
of
Adam
business.
show.
It's a solo team with fractional support, I would say. So I have a lot of strategic fractional partners that I pull in kind of as an ad hoc or as needed basis. And that's the model I'm developing for my clients as well. That external partnership makes it really easy to turn that valve on and turn it off again. So it's something that I believe in strongly and I've adopted in my own business because I think you can allocate any dollars you have to outsource tasks to the skill level, not necessarily the full-time burden of internal employees. So I'm a big believer in the fractional model, and I think that's how I've structured the team.
Yeah. And so my question to you there is going to be really more along the lines of obviously having so many different types of founders on the show, right? And
Yeah.
other solopreneurs that are on. I like to ask this just to see mentally how you wear these hats. With the fact that you are a solopreneur and doing so many things right now, how is that affecting your ability to focus on the founder level work and being a CEO on the fulfillment side?
It's a delicate balance, as you might think. It's without exceptional or highest quality client delivery, the whole thing falls apart. So that's got to be maintained. And I think the highest priority's got to be for people that have already said yes. With that, being able to quantify the work that we've done together and
Hmm.
tell others about that work from either a case study or some kind of a testimonial is very critical. So I divide my week into some discrete sections. So I even schedule calendar blocks for client delivery time, research time, marketing time, sales time, discovery work. I segment everything and all those different facets. And the percentages of each one are what I'm playing with.
Yeah.
I think from a scale standpoint, me doing active client delivery is what should probably come down due to efficiency. So I can do more on the scale and outbound side. And I think it makes sense for me to remain closely tied to the strategy because that's really where my expertise is the most helpful. As far as the delivery and the more structured pieces of the frameworks, I think that's an area where I could probably do less of that myself and spend more time on the front end side of things plus strategy. So I'm probably 50-50 right now, and it should probably be more like 30-70 or 20-80.
So with that, are you thinking that this is something that you're going to be adding some support in these areas in the coming months so that way continue to get that growth going and that scale going?
For sure. Growth right now, I'm probably between 20 and 30K MRR, which is about where I can tolerate. I'm able to sustain that. I want to grow it to 80. 83 is the $1 million a year mark, and I think that's a very achievable level for a business like mine with a need that's so pressing. But to get from 30 to 80, a fundamental shift is going to be needed. And that's where I see some of these scaling moves having to come in.
Absolutely. And I think putting all the right pieces into place is something that you're already doing mentally. So it's really just about doing it. And you're doing the exact things that you need to do for yourself, you're doing for your clients, right? So it's
Yeah,
a nice little
exactly.
level up that you have there and just putting the right pieces in place. So what would you say is your biggest bottleneck right now? What are you thinking about that is going to unlock that, whether that is lead generation, having that consistency there, or converting those leads into clients, or the fulfillment side? What are you thinking about right now as your biggest bottleneck?
I think there are two that are related, and it's due to the moment that we're in. I think budgets and spend are being very heavily scrutinized right now. And I think saying yes to an external contract type relationship has never been on, at least in my recent experience, has never been under more scrutiny than it has now. It reminds me of the time of the Great Recession when people were just, every dollar was just being totally scrutinized. We're not there yet, but it feels like we're getting there. There's a collective breath holding for cash outlay. The other part of that is just the mindset. I think the bigger companies get, the more successful they get, they're apprehensive about bringing on external partners. They feel like if we want to grow, we need internal full-time hires. So this aversion to external partnerships is the mindset shift that I need to get changed. And I'm doing that through thought leadership. That's what thought leadership is, right? It's trying to change a collective marketing mindset. But that's a slow go. And that's a very big limitation right now that I see because there's this collective. I'm not sure if I should spend, and if I do, it has to be internal. So we make sure we control how that's used. When you do that, you're paying benefits, you're paying all the ancillary SG&A costs of a full-time hire. You're not investing all that money 100% into the expertise and the skills. And I think once companies realize that when you do that, you get better quicker, that'll really accelerate things.
Cool. So with that, paint us the picture then. Obviously, you're putting all the right pieces into place. You're already seeing success. You gave us a little bit of insight there of where you're trying to go and what goals you're trying to reach with that MRR, which is incredible to have that there. What are you laser focused on for the rest of this year? What are you really putting into place to make sure that you can achieve those goals? Talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's just really pushing into the marketing engine. My conversion rates are very high. So once I get a discovery call, it's north of 80%. That's high for me. I don't know if that's high for
Great.
everyone, but
Yeah.
yeah, it feels good. So getting those opportunities with the decision makers who more and more don't want to be found. They insulate themselves within large companies or larger companies, and they don't, I'm sure because they get bombarded with different requests and things. So really refining the messaging and the positioning around why this type of offer. So combining the product marketing with growth marketing into a strategic growth offer is this right way to combine inbound and outbound for them. So the rest of the year is going to be focused on just getting that message out in every form that makes sense and just opening up conversations with decision makers and trying to find out where they live, where they go for information, and being as visible there as possible. Podcasts like this are a great source for me. I love doing podcasting like this.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure having you on to go from where you were to now. This is the beauty of the show, right? And I think that's, that really is the underlying message for me is everybody that has that passion. If you want to be able to do it, you can do it, right? So having someone like yourself, solopreneur, wearing so many different hats, coming from a chemical engineering background to now seeing so much success here and clearly going above and beyond to take it to the next level, it's just amazing and truly an honor. So with that there, how do you see Adam, the business development landscape for technical industries as a whole evolving in the coming years, especially with your engineering backed approach? What are you really doing to keep yourself at the forefront of that evolution that you're picturing?
Business development, I feel, is having a moment, and that moment is happening through business fundamentals. So, with all the technology and all the AI and all the automation that we've developed as a society over the last few years. COVID fueled a lot of this stuff. I think there was a sense that we could hack our way to success. We're learning that's absolutely not true, and we probably over-indexed that. So how do we use those tools in a way that amplifies the human-to-human connection that everyone wants in personal and in business, I would say. So I think business development is what that looks like. So from an outbound standpoint, once that messaging and positioning is clear, taking that and having conversations about true problems customers are having opens those kind of deep conversations. I've had discovery calls that last 30 minutes, at the end of which it feels like a real relationship is there, friendships develop from that. These are the kind of things that foster true business relationships, moving from a transactional what you can do for me and what the ROI is of something like that, to a, I'm your business partner. How can we leverage your skills and our assets for success for everyone? And I think that business development is what that looks like. More live calls, more in-person connections, going to industry events again, and then leveraging the AI tools that we've developed and the automation tools that we've developed to help structure everything for scale and speed. Because what hasn't changed is the expectation that there needs to be a pretty quick return on anything we do. So being able to generate those rapid returns, quantify them and summarize them for any decision makers that would be considering a similar thing for their own companies is the second part of it.
Absolutely love that. So with that right there, I do want to take us into the lightning round here for our listeners before we wrap up the show. And the first side of this, I always love to ask because it's with AI being here, there's so many businesses that are integrating it. It's such a big piece for you, Adam. What is one tool or resource that you're using, whether it's an engineering principle, content marketing strategy, an AI tool, as I just mentioned? What's really been a game changer for ASK this far?
Yeah. From a strictly technology tool standpoint, it's definitely been AI, like a ChatGPT or a Claude, in terms of that pairing with SEO research to amplify. So I would do a thought leadership interview and write an article and then leverage the tools to optimize it for search. A lot of people were going the opposite way, where they would take a term and have an auto-generated article and then try and meld it into the content strategy. That's not, I don't believe in that at all. But more broadly, I think the shift has been strategy plus execution. Many consultants kind of get addicted to this. We'll just give you the strategy and then your team goes and executes. Teams need and want strategy plus execution. Every team is lean, especially marketing in this moment. So they need help with strategy and they need help with execution. So positioning yourself and getting familiar with how to execute smoothly and quickly on the strategy that you develop is the win. There's a way to work with the team to do it. But in terms of like my offer strategy, the top tier is I can do the whole thing and it takes less time. Or a middle tier is I can work with your team, teach you how to run these tools. So from a sustainability standpoint, then your company's better. So in an engagement as deep as the one that I provide, it creates the point of a genuine relationship. The entire company gets better at their day to day after the engagement inevitably ends. It's not meant to be forever. It's meant to be a transition going from where they are through the hurdles and solving the problems they identify to the ideal state of the end goal of all of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then just one more to finish off the show here, Adam, and that's going to be on the advice side for our listeners. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, you've done so much in your career and are seeing so much success now and are really looking to break through some barriers here to achieve your goals. What can you offer to our listeners tuning in right now who are either just getting started in business or are in the middle of it and want to have that drive and passion that you have? What can you give them before you wrap up?
Get ready to work is the first one because it's not easy and it requires time and effort. But what I would say is generically, yes, get close to your customers, talk to them as many times as you can, figure out how many, based on your close rates and success rates, how many client conversations you need to have at the close rate you are at to get to your revenue targets. That revenue has to come from somewhere. You've got to build the bridge to get there. But the trick I would say that many people aren't doing right now is taking insights that you learn from one customer conversation and playing that off of another one. We're not sharing proprietary information, but a trend or a highlight that you have the vision to pick up from a client conversation, play that back to other clients and make sure, is that just a one-off insulated point of view that customer A had, or is this something that's shifting? So customers B and C might light up at that idea and even amplify it with some of their own ideas. So play those themes off each other. And when you do that enough times, the strategy you develop on the back end is extremely clear. It's very easy to sell internally, and it's extremely effective because it's backed by current market intel.
With that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Adam, I just want to thank you again coming on the show, sharing your incredible journey and your insights. It's clear as day, as I mentioned, the passion, the drive that you have, and you will absolutely be achieving those goals. So it was an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. Definitely would love to have you back, maybe another 6 months to a year. Give us some good updates because I know there will be some. And again, thank you so much. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, which I know so many of you have, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also check out ASK Consulting Solutions at askconsultingsolutions.com for their insights on sustainable growth, and follow Adam on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Adam-S-Kimmel. For more resources and insights, you can visit us here at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.